Yet we mused there was a glaring omission. An individual from Ogden, a symbol of freedom and accomplishment, was a part of the story of diversity in America. Yet we'd never seen a place to celebrate his story. It was that night that we began writing proposals, and 5 months later, the city of Ogden was excited to get on board and make Kilowat Court a reality. On May 30th, I received an email from our city council discussing naming a newly resurfaced basketball court after Mr. Wat Misaka. Within a week, our council was in touch with the Diversity Commission, and a week after that, organizations from around the city wanted to know how they could help. My husband and I could not have been more pleased to find out that our entire community agreed. An installment to tell Watt's story was long overdue. Very briefly, I'd like to thank a few more people alongside of who Councilperson Blair just thanked. I'd like to thank my husband Kevin for helping construct this idea. I'd like to thank Mr. Shinji Ichida, who patiently helped answer questions about Wat Misaka and the history of 25th Street throughout various planning stages. He sends his regrets that he's not able to be here today to join us. I would also like to thank Taylor Knuth and Katie Stewart, who helped to get us in touch with the Weaver Heritage Foundation, who will commemorate this spot through history and art, and every individual who worked in the planning meetings, especially Brandon Garsides and Janine Eller-Smith, who have put in countless hours over the past months to make this happen. But that said, we're here today to honor one individual, and that person is Wat Misaka. On behalf of myself, the Ogden Diversity Commission, and the City of Ogden, we thank you, Mr. Misaka, for exemplifying all that is great about our city. Your story, your bravery, and your transcendence make us proud. And it's my sincere prayer that as the youth of Ogden use this basketball court, that they may read your story, be inspired, and know that their potential is limitless. Over the past few months, my fellow commissioners and I have had the unique opportunity to hand out flyers about Kilowat Court and tell the story of Wat Misaka to the people of Ogden. And I wish that there was a way for everyone here today to experience the look of pride on the people of our city when we would talk about Watt's life and accomplishments. 25th Street, Ogden High School, Weaver College, the University of Utah, the United States Army, and the New York Knicks. When we say these words, there is a visceral and tangible response of joy and admiration on the faces of our people. Certainly, it goes without saying that Watt is a pioneer and a hero, but to the citizens of Ogden, his story is so much more. It's a story of American history with delightful local flavor. It's a story of inspiration and of hope. It's a tale of greatness in a time of prejudice. And it's a reminder that if a young man from Ogden's 25th Street in the 1940s could become a New York Knickerbocker, that same potential and promise lives throughout our city and her people. Thank you, Watt, for inspiring us and inspiring me. Your life story makes our city stand tall, and may your legacy continue to be the pride of our town forever.
Thank you, Amy and Councilman Blair, that pushed this forward. It's a real honor for me to be here and to meet you, sir. And for this to be a lasting legacy for the children that will play and be inspired on this court. And reading about Watt's life, I think he's a great example of the things hard work and grit can do in this life. I think it's especially appropriate that this court is in this inner city and will bear your name. Mr. Misaka and many of the children that live in these neighborhoods share similar backgrounds in a lot of regards. Live in challenging circumstances, need a place to express themselves, need a place to find out things about life like teamwork and focus and building relationships. These opportunities that this court will provide will change lives into the future, and we're very honored to be here. This is a healthy living outlet, and Ogden City has been very, very focused on that, and it's an honor that this will bear your name and inspire a lot of those kids that wonder, who is this named after? What does this mean? What does this represent? Mr. Misaka not only broke the glass ceiling of being the first non-white professional basketball player, he did it at 5'7". When today we have nothing but 7-footers and other huge people. And it was during a time, as was mentioned, when many Japanese Americans were coming out of a very dark period in American history with the internment camps during World War II. While we were interning people, you enlisted for the Army and fought for that same country. And that is an amazing personal trait. There's still a lot of our history as Americans that we have to get over. And people like you that have let out and been an example and been an inspiration have done a great job in healing a lot of those wounds. I think it's important that we recognize that. There were so many reasons to be bitter then, and you chose not to take that path. And that's something I think we can all learn from what is happening here today and carry with us through our entire lives. I read, as I was looking at this and researching you, that President Obama invited Kilowat into the White House to honor him for being the first player of color in the NBA. And I know this certainly pales in comparison with an audience with President Obama, but that doesn't discount the love and appreciation we have for you and the legacy you've left for this community and the inspiration you're going to provide to many people for years to come. Thank you for being such an inspiration. It's an honor to recognize you and your amazing life by naming this court after you and all that you've stood for, and I'm very happy that I get to meet you in person. As I read more about your amazing accomplishments, I was inspired beyond words. So thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing us this honor. Thank you to the entire community that showed up to support what you stand for and what you've accomplished. It's an honor to have you as part of Ogden's DNA, and that's something that'll never leave us. Thank you for being here, and thank you all for coming to support this great man.
Hello, my name is Connie Cox, and I'm president of the Weber County Heritage Foundation, and this is Katie Stewart. She's our incoming president and has worked with the diversity committee to make this happen today. And we're just very glad to be one of the community partners to honor Mr. Misaka today. And I think most people in Ogden know our group as promoting and preserving our built environment. But part of our mission is to preserve and promote our cultural heritage as well. And we are just very grateful to be able to honor Mr. Misaka today as one of our cultural icons. And this is what the plaque will look like. The day we ordered the plaque, it was too late. There in the summertime, the company is backed up for 3 months. And so this is what it will look like. And as soon as we get it, we'll install it, and we'll send a picture, and maybe you can come back again. But Kate's going to read what the plaque will say.
Forgive me if I make a mistake. Is it Wataru? Wataru wa Misaka. Born in Ogden on December 21st, 1923, Wataru wa Misaka overcame adversity and broke barriers as he became the first non-Caucasian player in the NBA when he was drafted by the New York Knicks in 1947. As a small but fast point guard, Misaka's speed on the court earned him the nickname Kilowatt. Misaka attended Weber College, where he led the Wildcats to back-to-back titles in the Intermountain Collegiate Athletic Conference in 1942 and 1943. He then transferred to the University of Utah and was part of the 1944 team that won the NCAA championship and the 1947 team that claimed the National Invitational Tournament championship. Between the two titles at the University of Utah, Misaka was drafted into the United States Army and served honorably in World War II. At the same time, other Japanese Americans were forced into internment camps by the United States government. Misaka was inducted into the Utah Sports Hall of Fame in 1999 and inducted into the Weber State Athletics Hall of Fame in 2011. On August 14, 2018, this basketball court at Liberty Park in the city of Ogden was named Kilowat Court in Misaka's honor.
Before you sit down, do you want to come up? We've got some street signs to present to you also. So, and then Monty Stewart from the Parks Department. So we have these songs on both entrances into the court, and then these are for Mr. Misaka, for him to keep. So these are yours. Yep.
Well, as most of you friends of mine know, speaking isn't one of my long suits. I'm hoping that you all feel the feelings that I'm feeling right now. This place is deep in my heart, especially so. A real good friend of mine that I met when I was in grade school. I went through school, and actually we were friends until she passed away just last year. But her brother was the first person from Utah to be recognized in the professional football ranks. And I think he lived right here on 21st Street. But there are a lot of student friends of mine that I can't recall their names right now, but I remember their faces, that lived around in this area while we were going to Central and Ogden High and even Weaver College. And I can still remember what a feeling it was for me to brag about these neighbors of mine that are such great athletes, to be recognized not only in Utah but in the whole United States and even in the professional ranks. And I know that many of you know the people I'm talking about. So the athletes from Ogden, there may not be crowds of them, but we sure had a few that will be remembered for a long, long time in the history of the United States sports. And I'd really like to commend those people for being pioneers for this relatively small group coming from this little town that had a reputation other than education. But a town that we all was proud of, regardless of what the other people may have said about it and talked about it. And when I look back at my history, I was born on 25th Street, and I lived in Utah for 92 of my 94 years. And I'm proud to say that I'm a Utahn, part of this community. There's friends of mine over there that I've known for a long time, from the Japanese community that's had that church on 23rd and Jefferson. And I'm just all choked up to think about all of the fine people that come from this little burg in the mouth of Ogden Canyon, where we used to go skinny dipping up there at the mouth of the canyon. In those days, there were no swimming pools, no swimming suits. But we had our fun. And when I think that I'm going to turn 95 years living in this community, and of all of those years, there's only the the 2 years that I wasn't here. So I think I can put my record up against anybody who's been in Utah, and I'm proud of it. So I'm so surprised to see so many people. You know, I remember when we came out here, we didn't have a football field or a basketball court. Well, a lot of the schools would, I think, borrow the LDS church's basketball courts to play. But those of us that didn't live in those kind of areas, we had to go play on the gravel out in the mud when it rained and stuff. And I don't know if any of you went to school, or I did, down at Grant School. I don't think it's there anymore, but I remember Grant because every morning walking to school, I'd see Ben Lowman, and that memory of that mountain is seared in my memory as being a symbol of Ogden and Grant School, and my living here in this community for 92 of my 94 years. So I didn't live all of that time here in Ogden, but it was all lived in Utah, not too far from here. So I'm back home, and I'm just glad to say thank you so much to all of you Ogdenites. So go Ogden.
We'd like to have head spiker Shane Lyon come up and share a few remarks.
Oh my gosh, how do you follow that? I should have been first. I get to follow Ogden royalty. That's awesome. Go Tigers. Go Wildcats. Thank you. Thank you for having us. As you can see, I'm a spiker. I'm the part of the spikers, and these are all the groups that you can see, everyone around that's wearing a black blazer in 92-degree weather. And we couldn't be more happy to be here to celebrate your accomplishments, to celebrate this, and to cut a ribbon. But before we do that, I want to invite the Chamber President and CEO, which is Chuck Lindhart, say a few words on behalf of the Chamber, and then we're going to cut a ribbon and make this official. Thank you.
My name is Chuck Lindhart, representing the Ogden Weaver Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Misaka, I think what we really want is to see you take this ball and go show us your moves. You don't need a ball, obviously, to show us your moves. You showed us your moves your entire life. And what a great, great life you've led, and to show inspiration to each one of us. We truly stand on your shoulders, sir, and thank you for the great privilege it is. Our business community is represented here. We're about prosperity and living lives of prosperity, and thank you for living and showing us how a prosperous life really can be led to achieve tremendous things. I can see people out on this court playing, making their lives happy and healthy and wonderful. Thank you for all that you've done, and I think we're ready to cut some ribbon.
Yes.
All right.
What we'll do is we'll have the spikers come up, and we're going to be the backdrop, and the scissors are yours.
I'm not related to him, but he is my great-grandfather's friend from when he played basketball throughout high school and college.
Priscilla. Jeremy. Priscilla? Oh, Priscilla. Come on, Mark. Right here. Jeremy. Okay, on three. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you all. That's right.
Okay, we're gonna have Grandpa talk to him for a minute, then we'll go.
What do you want to go get a cookie?
Yes, you can go get